All right, so we don't have an open.
Well, this is experimental radio right now.
Okay.
So we're just going to see what happens. We're going to call this segment Sturm Center.
Sturm Center. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
All
take
right.
it away, bud.
Well, see, we don't totally know what this is going to be, but the premise in the developmental offices was, okay, there will be games going on a given night sometimes. Sometimes there won't be games. So kind of what am I thinking? I'm going to go home and grab the remote in the event that I don't just spend the entire time hugging my kids.
Of course.
But
God, I missed you guys.
It'll probably be at least a 30-second hug, maybe a group hug. How's your day? That whole thing. And then, then we'll grab the remote and we'll start watching sports because that's what we do here. We watch sports and then some other things. So tonight, pretty basic. Tonight, Stars hockey. It will actually be here on the station, so you can have a listening party if you'd like, or you can watch it and, turn one up, turn the other down. But Stars and the Hurricanes, and the things I would say about this is that the Stars started so badly. I'm going to assume you guys are fully aware of how badly they started. I'm looking at Danny because every time I think in my head we should talk hockey for a moment, I'm going to hear Danny's drop that I think
don't care about hockey.
Look, it's one of my biggest sports regrets.
No, it's a hilarious drop, but it is.
Good thing we don't care about hockey.
The timing was terrible.
It is boy, was it ever?
Yeah, I mean, our star player was
Brendan
out for the rest of the year.
Right, like a bus crashed
and it was
8 people killed.
A breaking news story, but it happened in the middle of E-News, and I wanted more E-News.
It happened in the middle of. We were talking about Vern Troyer.
And I was all butthurt because my E-News story got interrupted by breaking hockey news.
Well, we'll try to keep the breaking hockey news from going right on top of your stories. At the same time, the ice is cold and the action is red hot, Danny. And tonight at the American Airlines Center, Stars and Hurricanes. The reason I say all this is after that horrible start, the Stars now, also like the Mavs, virtually assured of the playoffs. So now we can reconnoiter the bar, try to figure out, although the Stars in the summer were talking Stanley Cup, the Mavericks were kind of like, well, we really don't know how this is going to happen. Another thing they do have in common, though, is they're kind of garbage at home recently. And for the Stars, I'm certainly willing to hear the theories, but they're playing better on the road, where over the last little stretch, especially since the All-Star break, they've pulled 7 out of 8 points on the road. But at home, they lost to the Minnesota Wild in regulation with a gutting last-minute goal on Friday night.
When was the St. Louis game? Sunday?
Saturday night. So they came back the next night and beat St. Louis in St. Louis.
After being down 2-0.
Oh, it was a wonderful effort and kind of unexpected because the Stars traditionally play very poorly on Saturday night. It's their version of taking it out with the trash. They responded well against St. Louis, and they've actually done very well in that type of situation. But in their last 4 home games, they just have 1 win. And so they got to start taking care of home ice. The good news on that front is they only play 1 home game here in the next little stretch because they're about to go to Canada. That could be a tricky road trip to Ontario and to Quebec. So you got the Hurricanes tonight. And they, of course, most famous. You guys,
Tom Dundon.
Tom Dundon for sure, but are you guys familiar with the Hurricanes bit? I'm not going to take anything for granted here. The post-game celebrations they have at home.
Yes.
They
That's
won't
Tom
do them
Dundon.
here. Yeah.
That is Dundon who did that.
In fact, I think last week, does that mean change the story, or what does that mean?
No, man.
Dundon.
Oh!
It's Law and Order.
I'm very, very sorry. I'm just trying to figure out the cues here. But
being silly.
They did. Please do. I will try not to get thrown off and talk to drops. But they actually did football last week. They did the play action. They had the spread, and all the hockey players were playing football in honor.
How has that affected their crowd?
I think it's done very well. I think they are marketing on a certain level reasonably, but I don't fully know. I'm not tracking Hurricanes attendance, but they're in town, and the Stars doing very well in a weird way that you might say, man, I don't think they're great, but they keep finding results, which, beggars can't be choosers. So get a win tonight before they go to Ontario, and the Stars should be okay. I think we got Doby in goal tonight.
How's Tyler doing with the scoreless streak?
It's weird. He's the team's leading scorer, but in terms of goal scoring, that's all the assists, of course. In terms of goal scoring, he's having a horrible season by his standards. Still, there are chances. The shooting percentage is way down, but he's feeling it a little bit, too. You can tell it's making him quite annoyed at things.
We are 9 weeks without a goal.
He had a little stretch there in December where he had like 5 goals in 5 games, but on each side of it, it's been this giant stretch of drought.
So weird.
Yeah, it really is. But I don't think it's anything to get too terribly concerned about. It's a slump. But like I said, it's hard to get too mad at the guy for leading the team in scoring. The other things tonight have nothing to do with that, and that is I got to get caught up on Curb. And
have you seen any of them?
The first 2.
Okay.
Have you seen episode 2?
I've only seen episode 1.
Okay. Episode 2 is definitely worth seeing, but now we're on to 4.
Did you, because we've had this discussion already, and I haven't heard you guys talk about this when you used to do the old show, but were you in on last season, the Fatwa season?
No.
I thought it was terrible.
I did too. I thought way too much Leon.
Did you like it? I liked the first couple episodes.
Yeah.
And it felt like, because they had a long time off, it seemed like Larry David had good ideas, and then he's like, crap, I don't know what else to do here.
It might have got better.
That's what I'm worried about here, because I really liked the first 3 episodes.
Do we get a lot of Mocha Joe?
I haven't seen Sunday's episode.
And 2, Mocha Joe, and now Larry's trying to open up the place next door.
Yeah, yes.
And that's getting going.
Spite Shop.
Was Mocha Joe a guy that we were supposed to be familiar with before?
I think he was in, gosh, I don't remember what season, but he's been in it before.
Because I don't remember. I was like, wait a minute, am I supposed to know Mocha Joe?
The highlight,
it's funny because they call him Mocha Joe.
The highlight of
Mocha Joe.
The highlight of episode 2 on Curb from a couple weeks ago was the Ben Stiller's wife and Meet the Parents and Larry go on a date. And Larry is very careful not to violate any sort of non-consensual touching. And so he sets up his iPhone, and they go through, I would like to place my arm around you. Is that something you would be interested in? And then she gives consent to the phone, and then he makes his advance. And so it's a funny bit. So I think I will get caught up on that. And
are you on the train of there are 2 people that somehow are defying age right now? One is Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah.
Who, think about it. I mean, she's been in the public eye since 1985. And like the other night at the Oscars, she looked better than she did in 1985.
It's crazy.
And the other is Cheryl Hines.
Yeah.
She's unbelievable.
She looks amazing.
Edie Falco, too. Put her in that list.
Edie
that
Falco,
new promo with her on that new show, she
looks
looks
better.
younger than in Sopranos.
I don't get it. That's
when
20
she was
years
in her,
ago.
She was like 32.
She was really young.
Yeah.
That's the entire theme of the season is, are Cheryl and Larry going to get back together?
They've already been kind of...
They did it in the first one.
Doing a little katanka.
Which was really funny. Okay, real quick here. The audio, Larry David did some sort of... What was it?
I have
panel?
no idea.
We're not sure what it was.
Yeah, it looks like a panel with Michael Kay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, here's how it went.
Yeah, he gets political here, and it's fun.
A little bit of a political question, but obviously a big part of this show is the MAGA hat.
Pause it real quick.
First show, yeah.
You pause it.
He wears a MAGA hat, Larry does, so people won't talk to him.
Right. So yeah,
people are disgusted with him.
In California, he
in
gets
California,
left alone.
yes, they don't want to look at him.
Yeah, so in California, if somebody's wearing a MAGA hat, it's equated to seeing a triple rainbow, just something that doesn't happen.
For the first show, yeah. Right. There are people that wear the MAGA hat and like what the MAGA hat represents. Are you afraid about alienating them? They could be fans of the show.
Alienate yourselves. Yeah. Go and alienate. You have my blessing. No, I could give a f***.
That's Larry.
I'm always nervous about the
reversing
reversing the word.
It's fun. I forgot about this. I just did this literally 3 minutes ago, and I didn't have time to import a bleep.
Yeah.
They're kicking us out of here.
Looks like here's our exit music. The theme song from The Ropers.
As we look all the way back to the year 2019, back at that time, there was a gentleman that worked right here who sat in this very chair, and he joins us now. He is the great Mike Rhyner.
Mike.
Yes!
It's Mike. It's
Do you want to retire again now?
Oh, God.
No, once was enough.
It's him. It's really him.
Yeah.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Bob. Hi, Snake.
How are we?
Hi, Dan. Hi, David. Hi, Ty.
Hey, Mike.
Man, this is the best. You guys didn't tell me you knew Mike's number.
I know. We got him on red alert at any time we want to call. He gave us that little cachet. So throughout the season, we're going to have a regular baseball show with you, as we discussed. We don't know when and where, but in the meantime, we'll pop you on when there's big baseball stuff.
Or if you want to
Yeah, whatever you want.
I might want to.
But to clear your baseball blue balls, to get this out there so you're not like staring at a mirror talking to yourself.
Can we get Chris Bryant down here, Mike? And if so, the price that's being thrown around, that's the type of splash I need. I know you don't need it to get ready and get your head right, but I need a real flex that this team is serious about trying to contend, because the Astros can be had. The Red Sox have obviously gone back to the pack. Some of the heavyweights of the American League are certainly not looking quite that strong, and you're looking at a giant group of players that it would take to get a Chris Bryant. I kind of think there's a price in there that I'm happy with, but then again, I probably don't treasure the prospects quite like you would.
What would that price be?
Well, the one out there today from, I think, John Morosi or something along these lines is you're talking about Solak, Leclerc, Josh Young, and Cole Winn. Something like that. That's a
lot, man.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. And you're getting, what, 2 years of control?
You're getting 2 years of Chris Bryant at 18-something and probably 25-something in 2021.
Oh, man. You know, I love Chris Bryant, not as much as I love Nolan Arenado. If it was Nolan, I probably would bite down, swallow hard, and do that. If that's what it took to get him. And he's also comes with 2 years of control.
See, I think that they're basically done, that they fortified the starting pitching, and that's an easy sell to fans. Plus, you got the stadium. Plus, you had a team that was on the uptick until injuries kind of derailed everything last year. That you're okay this year. You can sell this product to fans, but you're talking about like going for it.
But you're selling them an 80-win team. You're a bat or 2 bats short, right?
But you got air conditioning.
That's true. I don't know how that shows in the standings.
You got a brand new ballpark with a roof on it too.
Don't forget about that. But you still have the contract of Shin-Soo Choo, Bob.
That's true. That's true. You do, Bob.
We need to get splashy here, Mike. We need some. We're going to need to score some runs.
I agree. We do need to score some runs. We need to get splashy. Chris Bryant would make a big splash, but I just don't know if I'd do it for him. I would do that for Nolan, but I don't know if I could bring myself to do it for Chris Bryant, because, man, you were clearing out the top of the farm system there.
Yeah.
I mean, you were just taking a big old skimmer and going right over the top of that thing.
All right, so to flip it the other way, I like Nick Solak. You know this. You and I share great regard for Mr. Solak.
That's right. We were both duly impressed with what we saw of him last year.
So if we feel like we found a piece, why are we acting like we might not have a real spot for him in the lineup? How can both of those things be true?
Trust me, Bob. There will be a place for him in the lineup somewhere.
I feel like you guys have like regard for this guy.
Solak's a stud. Solak hits that ball. That's what you need in this lineup right now.
Regard for Nick Solak?
Yes.
All right, he's doing stick here.
It's the ultimate insult.
I tried to have a good baseball conversation with Bob, and this is what we're getting bogged down with, Bob.
It's because you got the guy that has the name that starts with S-O. That's it.
This guy doesn't even wear glasses while he plays. Come on.
No, Solak will be in there somewhere. Now, they're not sure that he is a second baseman just yet, but the reality is, what is behind him at second base?
Yeah.
If what's behind him at second base is what was there last year,
Yeah.
then I really don't think they want any part of that. And if it looks like in spring training, like another year like that is on the way from him, then Solak will be at second base, and they will force feed him, and they will ride big or die with him. They'll ride or die with him.
Mike, it's an honor and a pleasure. This is this felt good, but I bet you'll feel even better the next time, and maybe the next time after that. This is great.
It always does, Bob.
That's what I hear. But we've got to run, so thank you so much for your sports time today.
Well, thank you for your sports time.
Thanks, pal.
You boys stay hard and carry out the plan of the day.
All right, man.
We're trying.
We'll see you.
Okay.
There he goes.
That's Mike.
Off into the sunset.
Off to war.
So Luka is back in the lineup, and that makes me super, super happy. And I have a feeling, though, that this is one of these years that this is kind of what the team is. It's one of those weird years where they get shot out of a cannon. The expectation level is ridiculous. They suffer through a lot of injuries. They end up as a 7 or 8 seed, which is fine. I have no problem with any of this because they're not going to win a title this year. But it's kind of, in the end, as excited as we are and as fun as it is and as bright as the future is, it's still kind of a bummer. And I'm not saying Luka's going to be hurt the rest of the year, but there's been so many guys dinged up really since he first got hurt back in December.
Yeah.
And it's gone Luka, Kristaps, Luka.
Right.
And in the middle, you lose Dwight Powell. And then you lose Seth Curry. And, you know,
if I would have told you when the season started that the 5 guys who would have played the most games through, 54 games that we are right now, 32 and 22, yeah. The 5 guys who would have played the most games would be Dorian Finney-Smith, Jalen Brunson, Maxey, DeLon Wright, and Tim Hardaway. Now, those are nice players, and they all mean a lot to this rotation, but somewhere down at number 8 and number 9 would be your 2 best players and your 2 superstars that you wanted to put together. I'm guessing if you looked at most teams and you say the guys who you count on most played the 8th and 9th most games through Valentine's Day, you would say...
You'd say you're screwed.
Yeah, you're probably not making the playoffs. Now, they've done a pretty good job overall. Now, the weird thing, and we did this back on our show, is just the preseason over-under. I don't know where you were on this, but we had a talk, and I think it was 41.5.
So right at 500.
Yeah, and that sounds modest, but it's also coming off a 33-49 season where Luka played out of his mind, won Rookie of the Year, exceeded every expectation, and they still just won 33 games. Okay, so now you add Kristaps, but you add Kristaps' first year off ACL and just all these types of things, and they kind of struck out in the summertime. Okay, they had Seth Curry, but can you get 10 more wins out of last season's team that's pretty much intact with just a Porzingis that you might project to 60, 65 games? And those guys were way more optimistic than I was, but I was fine with like 40 and 42. So 41.5, I think, was the total. I think I took the under just because I think jumping 8 or 9 wins is a pretty big deal.
Very big.
But as they stand right now, they're 10 games over 500. They're 32 and 22. They've had to play a ton of games without both, many games without either. And I guess the Kings coming back represents kind of the line of demarcation, if you will, because they came to the American Airlines Center on December 8th, and at that point the Mavericks were 16-6, and they ruled the world. I mean, they were up near the very, very top of the West. 16-6, that's awesome. How are we doing this? Man, the sky's the limit. Are you about to go on a title run? Since then, there have been 32 games, 16-16.
Yep.
Now, that's health-related, and that's, normalization and teams starting to get a feel for you and all these things. But
But they're still on pace to obliterate your over-under.
They're still going to kill the total.
Yeah.
They're still going to possibly flirt with 50 wins, but definitely exceed 45, it seems. And, I just think as much good as we've seen, we still don't have a good feel for what they are. Post Dwight Powell, just to get Kristaps and Luka out there for like 10 games in a row and just see how this fits. Because I love Porzingis' game right now, but we haven't seen it with Luka near the same level. So now reintroduce Luka. Kristaps, you keep knocking down, logo threes from 32 feet or whatever, and maybe we got something.
It's, look, here's what I want. Here's my readjusted hope and expectation level for the second half of the year and the playoffs. And that is to be the 6 or 7 seed, because I think that they're clear. They're going to remain clear of whoever it is in that 8 seed. They're 5 games up right now. I think that they'll be okay. I don't think Memphis will catch them, even though Memphis has been playing really well.
Right.
To be the 6, 7 seed, something around that, to play the 3 or 4 seed, or I'm sorry, I guess it'd be the 2 or 3 seed, and be very competitive, and have it go 6 games, have it go 7 games. It's doubtful that you can sneak a series away, but who knows? If you're fully loaded and healthy, sans Dwight, of course, anything can happen, I guess, and you have a transcendent player on your team that you don't really know what it's like when crunch time rolls around. You don't know how good he can be and how much he can control the game. But would that not be satisfying to win 47, 48 games, flirt with 50,
break the seal on playoff,
make
Luka.
The playoffs, yes, and then have some really, really fun series against whoever it may be, Utah, Clippers, whoever.
I think you have to try to remember how you felt when the season started, and so by that definition, any playoff berth and a competitive series would have to make you happy. I still think you would have to operate under the idea they will be a substantial underdog in that first round, and now you just want a plucky debut and see what you – it's not going to be impossible, but your odds are you're going to get the Lakers or the Clippers probably if you sit down here at the spot. And I like the Lakers matchup more, but I would still say the Lakers would be like a 70% favorite, right?
Yep.
So the Clippers might even be an 80% favorite just because of the matchups and so forth. But, yeah, just get to the postseason, let these guys play together, and try to remember patience.
Yes.
As we get to the 21st birthday of Mr. Doncic. Is that this month?
Yep.
Okay.
We're here.
Did it happen?
Oh, no.
He's
It's
21?
coming up. It's not yet, right? It's like Feb 20 or something like that.
I thought it was your birthday.
It's after the All-Star game.
Is it?
He's
Yeah.
going to be 20 years old in the All-Star game.
Yes.
Okay. Big party for him.
One day we're
The
driving
Masters
around.
presented by Easter.
Or vice versa.
Sponsored by Easter and the Travelers.
He is risen. Are you? Anyway.
So we're driving around in the car, and we are listening to the ticket, and suddenly there is a tease that one of you guys makes that coming up next, we review the movie Rocky IV.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, so my kids are obsessed with not just Rocky, but mainly Rocky 3 and 4.
Yeah.
The most action-packed of all the Rockies.
Correct.
And so like, oh my God, yeah, finally something that we want to listen to on your dumb radio station.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Now, this is 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So they were smaller.
Right.
They're not aware of any personnel up here whatsoever.
8 and 11?
Back
Couple
then,
years back?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Well, and to explain this just a little bit in the other direction, Brett only knows George because he's the one who farts. And it's really just the drop they play of George farting.
Uh-huh.
But of all the people up here at the ticket, they know me, Dan, and George is the guy who farts. And that's
this
all
is
they
where
know.
I will fart.
That's it.
Right. That's how they view where Dad works.
Right.
Dad, is that the guy who farts? No. That's not the that guy never farts. It's this guy.
So anyway, I was like, you guys want to? Oh, we want to listen to. Yes, we want to listen to this. And we were almost home, so we actually pull up in front of our house to listen to this, to listen to the bad radio review of Rocky.
Of Rocky IV.
Rocky IV. Yeah.
The good one.
So right out of the chute, Here Comes Bob. Now, just imagine being a little kid where you have seen this movie 50 times by this point. You think it is the greatest movie of all time.
I didn't know kids were listening.
Well, of course you didn't.
Yeah.
Of course you didn't. But they're just waiting for, the high fives and, Rocky's so strong and he beat the Russian and this is so great and it's the greatest fight of all time. And can you believe Apollo Creed died and all of this?
And I'm punching Santa Claus.
And here comes Bob.
I just want to say this.
By the way, I love the start to that. I just want to say this. You know it's bad.
Yeah.
I just want to say this. I'm old enough that I was out when these things were released. I was surrounded by friends who were really, really into them, pinning me against the wall, telling me how important these films are. I would go to them with great anticipation because certainly all my friends can't be morons. And then I would sit there at the movie theater with my friends as they're all loving it and airboxing. And I'm looking around, and I have decided I can either stand up to all these kids and tell them this sucks, what are we doing here? Or I could just sit right next to them and act like I'm loving it too. And that's exactly what I probably did. And it took until adulthood for me to have the guts to say what needs to be said. Sylvester Stallone cannot act to save his life.
But that's what makes it so great.
He can't talk.
I was laughing out loud at every line.
He definitely has no idea how to edit down a film, although this one is so edited.
All right, at this point, and I'm not even kidding, I start to turn the car off, and I start to turn the radio off.
Let's go inside, kids.
My oldest grabs my hand, and I look at him. He goes, "No, I want to hear this." Like he's just so crushed by it all that he wants to hear it. He's like, "No, Dad, I'm okay. I'm okay.
I can handle it."
Yes.
Can't talk.
His hero, you're saying, by the way, can't talk.
Right.
I was laughing out loud at every line.
He definitely has no idea how to edit down a film, although this one is so edited down that it's actually a really short movie that has no substance whatsoever. I think the boxing scenes in these movies are just categorically comical. There's just nothing close to...
You don't like his form?
I don't like the fact that
he accepts
every punch
in the
is
face.
the hardest punch of all time. The number of concussions being dished out in one of these fights would be enough to slow down an entire nation of fighters, let alone two guys.
Think I'm laying into this one a little bit.
Now, remember, this was a couple of years ago, and my kids were a lot smaller. And there is a big difference between, whatever it was, 7 and 10 and 10 and 14 or whatever it is now. There is a big – and so they are crushed. And then I get Dad, who is this guy?
What is this man doing?
Like, what's wrong with him? I'm like, no, don't worry about it. It's Bob. Just don't.
He was dropped as a baby.
Yeah, and they're in such shock that this could be said. So we're sitting there, car off, radio still on. I'm like, you guys want to come inside? No, we want to keep listening. So here comes Bob from the top rope again.
Let me say something else about Rocky.
Which is the best.
What am I?
Let me just say this too.
Let me say something else about Rocky.
She didn't know.
Adrian's a horrible character too. Adrian is
bagging on the wife, the poor wife who worked at the pet store.
Tell Rocky he wasn't that great.
Listen to what it says about her.
Is a horrible beat-down character that from the very second she was on screen in Rocky 1 just sucked the life right out of the movie over and over and over again. She's bad at acting. She's not particularly pleasing on the eyes, which I suppose makes her more endearing, but
she's ugly.
Wow. That's a different time.
That's as close as I can say to... That's as close as I'll
pleasing on
get.
the eyes, which I suppose makes her more endearing. But come on, I want my champ to have the best that the world has to offer.
Yeah.
Instead,
Very Yoko Ono.
Instead, we got this pet store beatdown thing going on here. Paulie's a beatdown. The whole franchise.
Now there is a
you went and rewatched all these, and you decided after a second viewing, some 40-some years into your life, that you're like, yeah, I was right when I was.
I've probably seen this one 4 or 5 times. So. The obligatory part of any Rocky storyline in most Rocky movies is that Adrian has to be against what he's doing.
Always.
In fact,
she's never been for him.
She has told him, "You will lose," many times. I think against Clubber Lang, she has stated that. But then also,
I can identify with that.
Then the obligatory part of the story, though, is
what's
that
more inspiring than a wife who's just wishing failure on you all the time?
But
so
That's a good point,
not
Rob.
only Rocky, the movie. It's Sylvester Stallone who can't act
Talia
or talk.
Shire.
Yeah, the wife. I mean, who's just the sweetest lady of all time. And just
I'm getting personal here.
Wants what's best for her husband.
No, but
she's
according
ugly.
to Bob, she's an ugly nag
A
that
pet.
wishes failure on her husband.
I believe a pet store beatdown.
Who's lying?
We just played you the audio from a handful of years ago. Bad Radio. Bob and Dan and Jake reviewing Rocky IV is part of the Movie of the Month Club at the Alamo Drafthouse.
Yes.
By the way, I'll be at the Alamo tonight in North Richland Hills screening the brand new Will Ferrell, Julia Louis-Dreyfus movie Downhill, and I think there's still some straggler tickets available.
Okay.
If you want to go to drafthouse.com. Anyway, so you just eviscerated Rocky.
Yeah.
We're in the car, me and my kids, because they had some sort of off day at the time. I'm listening to the review with them, and you just crucify everything that not only Rocky IV is about, but the entire franchise.
Yeah.
Which they have held, at the time especially, held very close to their hearts.
This is certainly topic matter that I'm kind of on my own on, because I'm not sure there are too many movie franchises that America just feels better about than Rocky. Like, America loves Rocky.
Of course.
It's so red, white, and blue. It's so Cold War. We're not going to let Russia, it's the underdog story. And somehow it missed me completely at that age. And then as I got older, I started hating the city of Philadelphia more and more because of a couple bad experiences, like at the vet, that I swear I'm not an obnoxious guy, but that city, the first time I ever landed in Philadelphia, out of the airport, walked out the doors, and two cab drivers were literally in a fist fight, and I'm not even making it up. Like, the next two cabs in line, I was supposed to ride with one of them, and they're fighting each other in the street. And so I turned on Philadelphia, so now my distaste for Rocky is ramped up even more.
Yeah.
And I probably forgot that little kids think it's Santa Claus.
You're not programming for
No,
little
I'm
kids,
not.
though.
I'm not, but I don't want to upset your kids.
Well, dude.
I hope your wife is still okay with me, if in fact she ever was. But your kids, that's hard to ever reverse.
Yeah, because that's what's in their mind.
Right.
Their mind is, Bob, he hates Rocky.
Right.
And that's it.
Like, they're not like, man, this guy really understands running backs in this year's draft. No. This is the guy that didn't like Rocky.
And like, all you do is you walk around down here with a sandwich board on that says Rocky sucks. Like, that's your whole life, is getting the message out to others that Rocky is bad.
What an odd platform.
Right. Okay, so I sat down a couple of days ago, and I talked about this with my kids. All right, I am here with my kids, Ike and Van. Van, how old are you?
I'm 10.
Ike, how old are you?
14.
All right, 14 and 10. Now, you guys, would you stop playing that?
Man, his voice is...
I'm 14.
He sounds 14, man. Way to go.
Ike, how old are you?
14.
All right, 14 and 10. Now, you guys know that I have a new radio partner. Do you not? Do you guys know who it is?
Bob.
It is. It's Bob.
Boy, they sound beaten out of the gate. This might not go well.
Know who it is?
Bob.
It is. It's Bob. Now, is there anything that you would like to tell Bob? Is there anything that Bob has said in the past that has bothered you guys, so we can clear the air? Because I'm going to be working with him for a long, long time, probably. So I need everybody on board, including my kids. Is there any problem you have with Bob?
Yes.
What is it, Ike?
He absolutely hates Rocky Balboa.
By the way, this is unprompted. This is...
You didn't set him up.
No, this is just, hey, guys, I need to record you and ask you a question.
Yes.
What is it, Ike?
He absolutely hates Rocky Balboa.
Because he's Satan.
Because Bob is Satan, he hates Ron. Okay, yeah, well... Okay, so...
You're Satan? That's a first.
It is a first.
Because he's Satan.
Satan.
Because Bob is Satan, he hates Rocky. Okay, yeah, well, okay. So why would a guy like that hate Rocky? Like, why would you guys think that? Like, what's wrong with Rocky? Is Rocky, in your estimation, the perfect movie as far as like all of them together?
No.
We got dissension in the ranks here. It's not?
I like it.
The only one that I don't like, I mean, they're all very good movies, but it starts to get a little off the hook with the third and fourth one, where the punches seem more fake than they usually are. Like the first and second one is like real boxing.
Oh, no, it's not.
They're just like real But hey,
okay.
Again, he's grown up a little.
Common ground.
Yes. You know, he was 7 whenever these movies were first presented to him, so maybe he's realizing through the years that the defense system of Rocky dropping his gloves by his waist in front of a Mack truck is not the best.
Maybe Uncle Bob isn't crazy.
More fake than they usually are. Like the first and second one is like real boxing, like not as hard punches. And then when you get to the other ones, you have 4. You got a massive Russian dude hitting like a freaking car.
Right.
Freaking.
Okay.
Mike Tyson hit like a car though.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but he was the only man.
No, he's not the only man. There's plenty others who have.
What, like Jelly Bean?
No, like Muhammad Ali.
Butterbean?
I mean, Butterbean was
Jelly Bean. Awesome.
So,
man, your kids know about Tyson.
That's what I was going to say, too.
And Butterbean.
Dude, Tyson hit like a Mack truck, bro.
Yes.
I love that.
And their reference, like, for boxers, like we were talking about this, basically Mike Tyson's career ended 20-something years ago. Like, he was done. But yes, they have an awareness of 2 people
that
good
parenting.
That might hit like a Mack truck. Jelly Bean and Mike Tyson. I think Ike tries to squeeze in Muhammad Ali in here too.
Man, there's plenty others who have.
What, like Jelly Bean?
No, like Muhammad Ali.
Butterbean?
I mean, Butterbean with the Butterbean.
So is the acting... is the acting good?
He makes fun.
Yeah,
of
the
him.
acting's
He makes
good.
fun of Rocky for talking too slow.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
By the way, again, this was like 3 years ago.
Boy, this is great.
And they still that's fresh in his mind. And he was, a little bitty boy when that happened.
Don't you attack Stallone's acting? That's
how dare you?
I remember you going.
Lines have been crossed, Bob.
Just like the
is the acting good?
He makes fun.
Yeah,
of
the
him.
acting's
He makes
good.
fun of Rocky for talking too slow.
He does, doesn't he?
Yes.
Me?
Do you think Sylvester Stallone's a good actor?
Yes, and
All right, so what's the best if Rocky is not the best movie series of all time, what is?
Star Wars. Star Wars or Indiana Jones?
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park for you?
Probably.
Star Wars for you or Indiana Jones?
I say Star Wars.
Okay, now here's
See, Ike's right.
Jurassic Park?
No, I'm sorry, Van's right. Yeah, the little one, yeah. Indiana Jones and Star Wars. That's the right answer.
Okay, now here's where I throw Bob really under the bus.
Oh, no.
Wait for this.
Here's where I stoke the fire a little bit.
No.
Just kind of poke the bear. I just had to get a little bit more out of him here. Whoops. All right. Park for you?
Probably.
Star Wars for you or Indiana Jones?
I say Star Wars.
Okay. All right. He also hates Harrison Ford.
What?
Now,
that is the GOAT.
We're having fun, Bob.
Now, this is where both kids, they're on the couch and they're all kicked back and they're trying to be cool and blah, 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 blah.
Flicking the ash off the cig.
Right.
Does
right.
anybody hate Harrison Ford?
Well, apparently
you do.
Just you.
You do. So
Unfair.
Here is where they snap to attention. It's one thing to just take a dump all over Rocky.
Right.
It's another thing to take on Indiana Jones and Han Solo.
That is crazy.
And so here is what you get. Thinks Harrison Ford's a terrible actor.
You're a terrible actor. You're a terrible talker on the radio show. You shouldn't even be there. Jake should have taken your place.
Oh, no.
By the way,
No.
The 14-year-old speaks.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, Bob.
And then I let him. I was like, dude,
you're a terrible talker.
A terrible talker.
Right.
Well, I mean, he's got me.
So then I go, look, he doesn't hate Harrison. Nobody hates Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford is the best.
Yes, and so
of all time.
They were okay with it. And then I said, you know what? He's come around on Rocky as well.
No, he hasn't. Man, that's great.
Was there more?
Those are some stars.
No. We let him go after that. We cut him
What
loose.
other bad things about Bob that they said did you edit out?
That was it. They don't know anything.
Don't say that.
They don't know anything.
It should have been Jake that got the job.
Well, I mean, I get it. Totally get it.
I'll tell you what, though. For kids, you can't, when you're invested in something like that, like Star Wars,
right,
dude, and someone tells you that it's not good, like Donovan. Like, if I told them right now that Donovan doesn't get Star Wars or Jake doesn't like Star Wars, you're basically telling them that they're stupid and that their whole life doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and it's at a time where any movie is pretty good. Like, there's a age where you turn on movies a little bit. You get just slightly cynical. Do we have a second? How are we doing on time?
Yeah, we got 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
I have a question for you regarding your kids. I mean, this might be a bad question, but it also might show that my late afternoon listening has not been perfect over the last little while since your kids started starring a little bit in the show periodically. There's no way that drop is actually your kid, right? That drop is from, like, the internet somewhere, right?
Shut the F up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Minos tried to.
Shut the f up!
Because it does sound like
Van. No, he's not.
What's the origin of that drop? I'm so sorry.
It's a kindergarten graduation in the hood. Do we have the full audio of that, David?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Literally, it's a 5-year-old
kid
who's screaming and yelling, and the teacher goes, Kenny, you need to calm down.
No. She walks in, she goes, hello, parents. Hello, students. Welcome to graduation.
We've got it.
Okay.
I hope this is clean.
If it's not.
Good afternoon, parents. Good afternoon, boys and girls.
Shut the f
Hey!
Not nice.
No, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
You need to leave?
No, bitch.
Oh, my gosh.
He's out.
That's amazing.
That's a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
So
this is real.
So the second one,
it's the same kid.
Like it was yellow card, red card,
right?
First tech,
yes,
thrown out.
Do you need to go out? No, bitch. And you hear my favorite is the guy. Okay, right at the end.
That's real.
Yeah.
Yes, that's real life in a kindergarten.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
One more time for fun.
Good afternoon, parents. Good afternoon, boys and girls.
Shut the f
Hey!
Nice.
No, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
You need to leave?
No, bitch.
All right. Okay.
And now that drop has been assigned to
Corby's youngest.
Poor Van.
Yeah, because of Mino.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you, slightly
I know,
believable.
I
There's
know,
a lot
that's
of
the
people.
problem. That's the
a lot of
problem.
P1s. People have come up to me before and been like, "Man,
Where'd you
when
get
did he
that?"
record Corby's kids doing that?"
Why would I, if that did happen, turn that over?
Right.
Shut the F up as he's yelling at me or his mother.
I think people want it to be true just a little bit. Just that, hey, they don't get caught up on language.
Yeah, we're
Corby's
super cool.
house.
Hey, we were watching Game of Thrones, and he was like, asking about incest and stuff. And so I was like, whatever, kid. And then he told me to shut up.
Oh, so amazing.
I'm really digging the way things are going here on our shift.
Same.
It's been a lot of fun. There's been a lot of laughs, and I get it. We're only 4 days in.
I think it's stupid.
There's a lot to go, and we got a lot to accomplish and all that. But
it's really weird how your mind screws with you, too, because once we started doing shows, it's like, why was I not sleeping? You know, I mean, it's weird. It's weird, but
I mean, it's your job. It's
well,
like
we've worked together a ton of times.
I know,
but anyway.
I know. It's the way life goes.
But your mind just screws with
you. How could we possibly do this?
I don't know. Oh well.
Well,
here we are.
Look, we're digging it. It's been a lot of fun.
Now I just got to win your boys over. We'll get there.
They're good. They're good. But when this initially was announced, shockingly, the internet, some of it, was not too happy. Now, let me just explain and I think you'll agree with me here. I think both you guys will. That the people that we interact with online, and mainly it's Twitter because I'm not on anything else, but mainly the people that we react or talk with online, it's probably about 5% of the actual audience, and it may be less than that. And of that 5%, 90% of it is positive.
Yes.
Now, the 10%, they're out there.
And 100% of it are super loyal people, generally, that really, really love whatever this station is. So, again, you're right. 90% of it's positive, 100% is great loyalty, but 10% are very concerned that something bad is happening.
Yeah.
And we get it, you know?
Yeah, they're loud. And it's not just this. You know, that same 10%, they'll fire off on you no matter what.
Absolutely.
They will come at you from all angles. And that's just the way life is, especially in one of these seats. You're going to get fired upon. Like it or not, you got to have thick skin. You got to be ready to take it and just move on and put the blinders on. You know, the best person, I feel like I'm pretty accustomed to that and just kind of plowing forward. Dan McDowell is the best.
Oh, yeah.
The guy who just is like, who cares?
I learned so much from Dan.
He's the best.
He has the thickest skin. He's got the best approach, and he's probably the least mentally ill of us all because he doesn't allow things into his head very often.
So what we would like to do, because we're an open book here, is we would like to share with you some of the responses that we got after the announcement was made at 3:30 on Monday. Now, a lot of this is initial reaction.
Right.
Like, holy crap, the announcement's made, I'm getting online, and I am firing away. So, play the music, Maestro.
Oh.
I'll begin. Corby belongs on overnights. What's he ever done? I don't get it. Sturm needs a strong sports presence with him. Instead, he's getting a glorified chimp. Except chimps are likable.
Oh, great. Now we can get 4 hours of one big, long, giant run-on sentence for Bob. Corby can get his $1 million a year by just napping through one of Bob's long questions.
You make $1 million a year?
Totes, man. Yeah.
I stopped listening to that S-hole of a station years ago. It needs a complete overhaul of talking heads.
Just all the way around.
Yep.
Like, forget about the announcement that was made.
Yep.
I stopped listening to that S-hole of a station years ago.
Blow the whole thing up.
Nobody encapsulates the aging of the host P1 more than Corby. In the old days, he was the snake, like that crazy friend you had that would be up for almost anything. But now, he's pretty much generic suburban dad going through the same menial stuff we all do.
It's called getting older.
The next one likes me too much. I'm skipping that one.
Okay.
No.
It doesn't work that way.
Okay.
It's positive. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, pick one. Yeah, pick one that rails on you.
Biggest mistake ever. Mark my words, compare ratings 1 year from now.
That's a threat, by the way.
It is.
No, you compare.
What a terrible pairing. I'm out. The biggest egos. No way they will work together. I guess the ticket doesn't want any other listeners but the 40-something white guys.
So because we are 40-something, well, I'm not anymore, but that's all that we're going for?
Mm-hmm.
That's it?
Yep.
Old Gray Wolf was a baseball sports guy. Corby would rather talk about music, movies, and award shows. And he's an S college football analyst. They needed another strong sports presence to balance him out. Bob was a good choice.
Oh, he ended it with positive.
He did.
Let's see. You will have to go on without this day one P1. I can't deal with Sturm's long questions and Corby's annoying laugh. Good luck.
I mean, he's right.
Yeah,
a little
pretty
bit.
much.
P1 Day 1, and I listened to every show until I tuned out of bad radio about a year ago. I can't stand high horse know-it-all Sturm. I can't wait until 12 to 3 again. Switching off after Why Today Doesn't Suck.
This one simply says, hang Danny.
Really? What did I do?
He didn't use all of his available characters, did he?
Will you guys bring me a tree?
Totally disappointed. Bob has diarrhea mouth. He can't ask a simple question without spending 1,000 words and 5 minutes. If Corby can't keep him on track, I'm out.
You know what? Just get ready. As soon as you start asking a question, in the middle of it, I'm going to be like, Bob, that's enough.
So, well, you got 1,000 words.
Just calm it down here. Danny.
My mic messed up.
Oh, Danny.
My wife texted me this afternoon, quote, "Did you hear that Rob Stern is going to work with Corby?"
Let's see. Why does Corby get to stay an afternoon drive? Didn't he just get there a few years ago anyway?
Like 20?
I'm sure 4 hours of OU football and gay-ass tennis is what we all want.
What a reduction.
4 hours of OU football and tennis.
Gay-ass tennis.
Here's a good one. Yeah, Bob and Corby will work. All Corby does is make fun of Jesus and conservatives. Bob is going to walk out on the show in a week.
Well, you got an hour and a half left, Bob.
All I do, so my
That's
entire radio persona has been built around two things. Making fun of Jesus.
Church sucks.
Yep.
And conservatives.
Yep.
That's it.
Well, he doesn't. The other guy said it was OU football and tennis.
I know. God.
That's 4 things.
I got one.
Okay.
Worst decision possible. Boring. Bob, weakest member of the entire ticket team. Giant ego for absolutely no reason. I want to drive an ice pick into my ears when he tries to tell a basic story. Unlistenable. Sorry, Corby and Danny.
It's okay.
I used to like the show.
Just not even giving it a shot.
Dang it.
Bad move. No-win situation, but should have backfilled Mike with Donovan. Okay, that's fine. He goes on. He's likable and would help offset Corby's cocky, unprepared a-holishness. I'm moving to Willie's place for the evening commute. Willie's place?
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
like
the
XM
satellite station?
XM country station.
All right.
It's a good choice.
Sports Sturm is too much of a tool to be a member of the Hardline. You can rename the show, but it's still the Hardline, and Sturm is still a tool.
This one simply says, "Damn, I was hoping Corby would quit." Just quit! That's the announcement.
What a weird decision.
Let's see. Great idea, guys. Corby's baseball knowledge is that he was a Dr. Pepper Jr. Ranger when he was 10. What's he going to do for 6 months when we need baseball talk? Because golf and tennis and liberal politics aren't going to cut it. What a reduction.
Well, here's a good one. Sturm's Wisconsin accent and lip whistle on his S's make him unlistenable to me. You couldn't find a Texan that knows sports?
Oh,
hell yeah.
Plus, he knows D about baseball.
I'll never listen to the Hardline again. Bob Sturm sucks ass. They should change it to the limp line. Stay limp, P1s.
Let's see. Not sure how you'll fit anyone else in the studio with Corby's ego. It'll finally be nice to have someone who focuses on sports for the P1 and not themselves.
I love this.
It's going to fail so miserably so fast, and then the ticket will crumble. Been waiting for this for years. Idiots, all of them.
Like, did these people listen?
Very loyal customers. They
Yeah.
were right there at the first 10 minutes of the announcement.
One more. What the F, man? Garbage. I love the snake, but Bob Sturm, Jesus. Looks like it's Musers and Normandy, and then music for the rest of the day.
Yay!
There you go.
That's just a few.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do the page 3 again next week.
Yeah.
We literally don't have time to read them all.
I know.
No, we don't. We have a whole nother page. A whole nother page.
Well, there's always next week, Corby.
All
right.
Unless you walk out.
That's true.
Hey,
if
at least
I don't walk out,
I'm
we
the
have
only one people wanted to murder.
I know. Yes, you were. Yes, they want to hang you.
Yeah.
That's not nice.